Hello, everybody. First and foremost, I want to thank Michael Zuber for this opportunity to come on and kind of educate you guys on investing remotely. Mike is just doing tremendous things, with the one rental at a time movement, as well as, just a collaborative thinker and bringing in different people from different sectors of real estate investing to pour into his audience. And so I'm appreciative that I got an opportunity to come and share with you guys about investing remotely. It's been, one of my specialty investment strategies for, over a decade now. And, I help a lot of people globally implement these same strategies and processes that I'm going to share with you guys. So before we jump into it, just make sure you're taking notes. I am going to give you tangible, actionable steps that you can take to start building out your investing remotely strategies. Okay. Let me silence everything really quick. Cool. All right, let's roll. So what is investing remotely? Okay. It's a strategy in which you can invest your local market or elsewhere by way of setting up systems and processes to remove you from having to physically be there. So a lot of time people associate investing remotely as if it has to be done from afar. That's not always the case. I live here in Orlando, Florida, and even the stuff that I do here locally, I've figured out a way to remove myself from the day-to-day, right? Being able to replicate my efforts without me physically having to be there. While also I do invest a lot remotely, right? I invest in Detroit is one of my primary markets, which is some 800 miles away from where I'm at. And as I mentioned, we have students in other countries that invest here domestically all throughout the state. So I'm going to teach you both aspects of it, but I just want to clarify that point, okay? So who is Brian Adamson? I'm a Christian man, been a husband of 15 years, father of a 19-year-old daughter, and invested in real estate the last 16 years. Done over 100 fix and flip and wholesale deals remotely. Currently a commercial multifamily investor, and also the founder of BBR Education Group. It's an international mentorship program, as I mentioned, teaching students all over the world how to invest in real estate remotely. Okay, so who is this for? This is actually for beginners. It's for seasoned investors. It's for full-time employees. It's for full-time business owners, investors looking for better ROIs, international investors, and investors that don't want to be involved with the day-to-day operation, as I mentioned. Okay, so what type of investing can you do remotely? You can do fix and flip. You can also do cash flow, you can do wholesale, you can do Airbnb, and the list goes on and on. But I wanted to cover kind of what I would say the main arteries, right? So fix and flip, wholesale, cash flow, and then Airbnb. Now, where do you start? This is the $1 million question. You want to start by defining your goals, right? You got to know where you're going before you get there. So defining your goals, are you looking to generate more residual income and possibly retire sooner? Do you want to have more disposable cash to do other things with, like investing or travel? Maybe you're looking for a way to make big sums of money and pay down credit card debt or student loans, right? Or maybe you're someone who you need to save for a big life event. Identifying your goals will help you to determine which strategy you should use, because each one of those strategies produces a certain type of income stream, right? So cash flow produces residual income that could set you up for retirement by supplementing whatever your monthly income is currently, and even more so covering whatever your monthly expenditures are. Active income strategies like flipping and wholesaling could get you big chunks of cash to pay down debt, to have disposable income to go and travel. Other strategies like Airbnb can get you big chunks of residual income in a short period of time to help you save up for maybe a big life event. Okay, so right after determining kind of what strategy you like to go into, then you have to figure out what's the best market. So one of the key tools that we use for that is bestplaces.net. Okay, that's a freebie that I'm giving to you right here. Once you figure out your strategy, you determine which market and why. And then, using this bestplaces.net tool to give you a ton of viable information, particularly where the most desirable areas are for investing all around the country. Okay. There's a ton of information on the site. So make sure that while you're looking, that you're trained on how to navigate this piece, right? And we teach this inside of our iFlip Mastery course. But essentially, as you go through there, it's easy to get caught in the weeds because there is a ton of information and maybe not always the best suited information to help you to get to where you're trying to go, right? So you want to get on there, you want to look at housing stats, and then you want to really drill into the information and determine what's going on in that market, via population, the growth, the appreciation in that market, and things of that nature. Okay. Now, so first you figure out what the goal is, what's the strategy. Then next you go into, which market do you want to go into? And then after figuring that out, the next piece you need to tackle is setting up your infrastructure. Okay. Now, just a quick asterisk. You can't win without a good team. All right. Your team is everything. This is a team sport. You can only get so far on your own. Okay. And so these are the key pieces that you need to do, not necessarily in this order, but, they seemingly could be in this order. All right. You want to set up your asset protection first and foremost. So you want to set up an LLC with the S Corp election. The traditional LLC is fine, but you want the S Corp election for tax purposes. Consult with your CPA, but you get additional tax shelter from the S Corp election. All right. You want to set up a business bank account. I suggest you do that with a big box bank, Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, because in real estate, you're going to be doing a lot of transactions, right? If you got a $40,000, $50,000 renovation, it's going to be a lot of wires between you and your contractors, et cetera. So you want to deal with the bank that doesn't have a lot of red tape and understand the dynamics of your business. A lot of the community banks are better for building relationships and credit and loans and things of that nature. So, my advice would be to keep your income, if you will, in those smaller community banks. But as far as all of the day-to-day transactions and all of the stuff that you need to do, get with the one of the larger commercial banks. Okay. You're going to need a realtor, right? You need a buyer agent and a list agent. The buyer agent is one who helps you to source and find the properties. The list agent will be the one to sell it, after you get done with renovations. Okay. You need lenders. So hard money lenders, also known as asset-based lenders. These are entities that function like banks on the primary market, but they specialize in dealing with investors, and even more so, is business to business. So this is why it's important to have your LLC set up, because these individuals lend to businesses, not people, which is great for you, right? So even if you have blemished credit, their lending is predicated on the deal, how good the deal is. You're a secondary piece as a signer, okay? And then you need private money lenders. You need, me, Joe with the shoebox with money in it, people that got money sitting in bank accounts, stagnant, mutual funds, wherever anybody's holding cash. These individuals are essentially private lenders. You just need to learn how to package and deliver those conversations to show them what the value add proposition is and get them to buy into your vision, come alongside of you and partner with you. Okay. 90% of our students in our program do their deals with no money out of pocket. And it's because they've learned how to source these individuals, how to have the productive conversations once they find them. Okay. You're going to need contractors, right? I like to say the contractors are the Achilles heel of our business. That's certainly, early in my career where I had my biggest impediments, lost a ton of money dealing with contractors. And, through those trials and errors, been able to put together solid systems and infrastructure and accountability mechanisms to protect you and mitigate from those pitfalls that exist from dealing with contractors. But you need them. We all need them. You can't win without them, and you can't win with bad ones. Okay. Property management company. So once you start to build out your cash flow portfolio, I strongly suggest that you do not self-manage your properties. have the professionals, come in and facilitate those needs. It's just important for you to be the subject matter expert to understand what type of questions to ask these individuals and how to hold them accountable to making sure they're doing the best job for you. All right. You're also going to need project managers. So when I talked earlier about being able to remove yourself from the situation and replicate your efforts, that project manager, or as we call it, boots on the ground, would be the individual or individuals who will replace you in the market and essentially do your bidding for you on your behalf. All right. Title company, depending on what state you're in, it could be a title company to help you close the transaction, or it could be an attorney, right? That functions like a title company. So some states have both, some states have either or, but essentially these are third-party entities that come in and facilitate the closing of the real estate transactions. All right. You need wholesalers. It's just another form of somebody out there helping with your acquisition system. So, your business is only as good as your pipeline, and your pipeline is essentially the oxygen to your business. You got to have deals that are coming to you in order for you to continue to flourish as an investor. Okay. So realtors, wholesalers, you need them all on your team. You need a good real estate attorney. You may not need them immediately, him or her. But eventually, as you start to do more dynamic deals and you get into, different contract issues, different title issues, you're going to want to have a good real estate attorney that can come in and help you in those situations to get the desired outcome. I remember years ago, we had a wholesale deal where the seller got squeamish and took a second contract with another buyer and tried to cut us out the deal. And essentially, we got with our real estate attorney, we went and put a lis pendens on the property, which is a lien, to show that we had a vested interest, and we prevented the sale of the second contract that they had. And what essentially happened was they ended up paying us a little over $12,000 to allow the second buyer to buy the property. So in that case, we didn't even end up wholesaling it. We literally got paid $12,000 just from having good infrastructure, a good real estate attorney who was able to send some documents on our behalf. And we still got paid in a transaction that we essentially didn't have to do any work for. Okay. And then you want to have a good CPA. I tell people all the time that you have to move from a place of having a tax practitioner to then having a certified public accountant who is extremely knowledgeable on the different tax shelters that exist for you as a real estate investor, because a good CPA won't cost you money. They'll actually make you money. That's the reality of it. Okay. So education, right? That's pinnacle, as paramount in the grand scheme of things, right? So once you figure out, what's your strategy, what markets you want to go into, building out your team, you have to get educated. All right. I cannot stress that enough. And obviously Mike Zuber believes in that, which is why he educates on a daily basis and brings in other individuals like myself to educate you guys. All right. Now, going through education, to get more specific, you want to learn how to analyze comps. This is probably the biggest miss in our industry, where people do not know how to analyze comps. And you probably heard Mike say it all the time. We make our money in real estate when we buy, which means that if you don't evaluate the property the proper way up front, then regardless of how good of a renovation you do, regardless of how great of a deal it was, if you did not determine what the ARV was properly, there will not be any profit margin at the end, and you will lose money. Okay. And so you have to learn how to analyze comps. And these are things obviously that we teach you inside iFlip Mastery if you chose to pursue that as well. But how to analyze comps, how to analyze rehabs. This is very important. Again, you need to be the subject matter expert, not that you need to go out and actually be the one painting and hanging drywall and all of those things, because we actually advise against that. But you do need to understand those that are doing it so that you can hold them accountable. You need to learn how to analyze deals, profits, return on investments. That's everything you need to know. How to raise other people's money. As I mentioned, one of the biggest impediments for me for the first 8 years of my career. I didn't have a mentor. And while I was, I was successful in my own right. I bought over 20 rental properties in my mid-20s. I was doing better than those in my immediate peer group. But because of the lack of mentorship and because of the inability and acumen to go out and raise private money, I got into a situation where my property started needing work that I didn't plan for, right? Roofs and basement dig ups and HVAC. And because I didn't have the ability to go out and raise private money, nor the network to do so, I ended up selling off 90% of my portfolio in the down market. And in result of that, I left like $2 million on the table. Had I found people I could have partnered with, held that portfolio through the down market into, the last 24 months, I could have sold that portfolio and made $2 million. So it's important to learn how to raise other people's money, because if you do, as long as you know how to find good deals, you know how to raise capital, there's no reason why your business should ever stifle or go out of business. Okay. You need to learn how to vet and hire contractors for all those things I previously mentioned. How to pay contractors and hold them accountable. This is so important. You need to pay your contractors in arrears. People give 30, 40, 50% deposits. The contractor doesn't perform. How do you recover from that, right? You got a $50,000 bid. You give a guy 25 grand. He comes over, knocks a couple holes in the wall, does some demo, and then runs off. How do you recover from losing $25,000? The answer is you don't. You foreclose on that property, and then you probably have such a disdain for the business that you never do it again. This is why education is so important. It's so imperative that you get it, because why would you want to cannibalize an opportunity to build generational wealth, pass things down to your children and loved ones, and do this business for a lifetime, as myself and Michael have done to this point, just by having a bad experience when it could be avoided, right? Take the time, invest in yourself, get the viable information that you need, okay? You want to learn how to complete renovations. There's a process, there's order operations, and then how to strategize your listing or renting out the property, right? So again, how to identify the right list agent for your market, have the right come to market strategies, to put your property in the best situation, and then, how to rent the property if that's the exit strategy, okay? And then how to plan for taxes. This is important. As I mentioned, your CPA will make you money, not cost you money. And so it's important that you start establishing those relationships. One of the things our students do when they come into the program is they have a consultation with our CPA just to get, first of all, to explain to them what their business plan is, but then also in reciprocity for the CPA to tell them what the strategy should be going forward based on that, okay? So after education, then you have to move into execution, right? So many people, they do go out and they find the importance of education, but then they lack the execution. They have analysis paralysis. They've been to this course, that course. They watch a ton of Mike on YouTube and everybody else, and then they just don't do anything with the information. And, the only way you win in this game is to take imperfect action, learn from your mistakes, have a mentor along the way to help you mitigate taking the big ones, okay? So moving into execution, once you are educated, you now start taking execution, right? I should have said taking action, but you guys get it. You have identified your market. You contact your realtors and wholesalers with your criteria for the deals that you want. You establish relationships with asset-based and private lenders. You source and interview contractors. You source and interview project managers. And you start submitting offers, doing your due diligence on your properties, and get your deal closed. That essentially is the movement, right? That essentially is the movement. Everything I'm showing you guys tangibly is the order operations in which you go about getting your business started, okay? Now, these are the key takeaways, okay? Remote investing does not have to be in different areas, although commonly practiced that way. So again, all because you hear remote does not mean necessarily it's got to be, the next city or the next state over. It could actually be right in your backyard. And if you're a full-time employee, or you're just somebody that would prefer not to be in the field, by implementing these methodologies that I shared with you, you can absolutely replace yourself in that setting and have somebody do your bidding on your behalf. Okay. It gives you the latitude to invest in other markets for better ROIs. While I am from Detroit, I'm a native. I've been investing there the last 16 years. I've been in Orlando the last 11, and I continue to invest in that market, not because I'm from there, it's because the ROIs are significant when compared to, you know, some of the opportunities here in Orlando and other parts of Florida, just because it's so competitive, right? And so you can find places in the Midwest, outside of Detroit, places on the East Coast where you get these favorable ROIs that you just can't get anywhere else in the nation. So, you know, remote investing keeps you from being pigeonholed and confined into one market, and you can really expand and go put your dollars to work in their best capacity. You want to get educated. Anything worth doing is worth doing right, for all those things that I just aforementioned. You know, real estate is a team sport. So again, building out your team, your infrastructure is critical. You can get started with very little money, okay, but you have to get the knowledge. So there's more money than deals, believe it or not. And there's certainly more money than good operators. And so people are waiting for you. People are waiting for you to show up as a subject matter expert. You've gone and made the investment in yourself, got the knowledge that you need, the actionable knowledge, to then come and show somebody how you can take their dollars that are sitting in a bank account yielding nothing, 401k yielding 3%, an annuity next to nothing, and how you can put velocity on growing those dollars for them while they sleep, right? Everybody's looking for that. You just have to show up as a subject matter expert, which is why it's critical that you go out and get the knowledge. Again, there's more money than deals. You just need to have both. All right. There's more money than deals. You just need to know how to get both. All right. As long as you start and don't quit, you'll be successful. Our mantra is stick to the mission, right? Regardless of what happens, the adversity, the pitfalls, the challenges, the only way you truly fail is to quit. So as long as you don't do that, you will be successful. It's a marathon, right? It's a marathon that will get you out of the rat race. I'm going to sit that there for a second. It's a marathon, but it will get you out of the rat race. And so you just have to do as much as you can to fortify your system up front, okay, which is get a mentor, get educated, and then get a network, a resource center, right? You guys have subscribed to Mike's community, which is phenomenal. That's a great start of a network. And now you just have to get the tangible know-how and then leverage those relationships in the network. You know, it's a ton of people that's waiting to partner with you. So as long as you show that you're competent enough to pull it off. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you'd like to connect with me further, you can follow me on Instagram. That's probably the best place to find me, Brian_Adamson1. You can email us at support@iflip.university. And as easy as it could be, you can click the link right now, sign up for a call to learn about our iFlip Mastery program, where we'll teach you guys all of these strategies and how to pursue them from a remote perspective. Okay. Again, I just want to thank Michael for, you know, giving me the opportunity to come share with you guys and just all the great work that he's continued to do. And again, stick to the mission. All right. I look forward to talking to a lot of you guys. This has been great. And let's take some action.